Hello, kids. Today, I am going to tell you a story about Jhonny and the lantern of the fair. In a quiet little village, tucked between rolling green hills and silver streams, there lived a thoughtful girl named Molly. Her cottage sat at the very edge of the village, where honeysuckle climbed the fence, and daisies dotted the path like tiny stars. Molly lived with her grandmother, who baked the softest bread and told the warmest stories. But Molly's very best friend in all the world was Jhonny, the cheerful boy who lived 3 doors down, with a laugh as bright as sunshine. Every year, when summer began to fade into autumn, the village held its great lantern fair. There were music tents and painted wagons, apple tarts and cinnamon sweets, juggling acts and ribbon dances. The fair was the most wonderful day of the year, and everyone looked forward to it. On the morning of the fair, Jhonny bounced up Molly's garden path 2 steps at a time. "Today's the day," he said, grinning. "I'm going to win you something special." Molly looked up from her flower bed. "You don't have to win me anything," she said softly. "I want to," Jhonny replied. "I promise I'll bring you something beautiful." He waved, then ran off toward the fairgrounds, whistling as he went. Molly watched until he disappeared down the hill, her heart feeling light as a dandelion seed in the breeze. At first, she wasn't worried at all. She spent the morning watering her flowers and helping her grandmother knead dough. She hummed cheerful tunes and imagined Jhonny returning with stories of acrobats and musicians. But as the sun climbed higher, the hours began to stretch. By lunchtime, Jhonny still hadn't come home. Molly sat on the cottage steps and watched the road. "Oh dear, what can the matter be?" she murmured. A sparrow hopped nearby, tilting its head as if listening. "He said he'd be back by noon," she told the bird. The sparrow chirped once and fluttered away. The afternoon passed slowly. Molly tried to distract herself by sewing, but she stitched the same place twice. She tried to read, but the words blurred together. She even tried to nap, but every sound made her sit up again. The fair was only a short walk away. She could hear faint music drifting over the hills when the wind shifted. Laughter, bells, drums, all the sounds of happiness. Why wasn't Jhonny coming back? Her grandmother noticed Molly pacing by the window. "You're worried about Jhonny, aren't you?" she asked gently. Molly nodded. "He promised he'd return early." Grandmother smiled kindly. "Sometimes, dear heart, good things take longer than expected." That helped a little, but not much. As evening arrived, the sky turned shades of peach and lavender. Lanterns began to glow along the village path, lighting the way home for travelers. Most children had already returned from the fair, chattering happily about candied apples and juggling acts. Some ran past Molly's gate, laughing with their prizes in hand, but not Jhonny. Molly stood by the gate, twisting the ribbon of her apron between her fingers. "What if he got lost?" she whispered. "What if something happened? What if he forgot all about me?" The worries felt heavier now, like stones in her pockets. Just as the first stars appeared, Molly noticed something down the hill. A tiny golden light bobbed gently as it moved closer along the path. She leaned forward, hardly daring to hope. The light grew brighter, warmer, and then she heard a familiar voice singing softly and off-key.
"Oh dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Jhonny so long at the fair."
"Jhonny," Molly called. The light suddenly bounced higher, and a familiar figure came running up the path. Jhonny emerged into the lantern glow, hair tousled, shoes dusty, and cheeks flushed. "You waited," he said, breathless but smiling. "Of course I waited," Molly exclaimed. "Where have you been all day?" Jhonny held up the glowing lantern. It was the most beautiful thing Molly had ever seen. It was made of delicate paper, painted with flowers, moons, and tiny golden stars. Inside, a gentle flame flickered safely behind glass. "It's for you," Jhonny said proudly. Molly stared in wonder. "For me?" Jhonny nodded. "I saw it first thing this morning, but the lantern maker said it was his finest one, too fine to sell for coins." "So what did you do?" Molly asked. "He said if someone helped him all day, carrying boxes, sweeping the stall, helping younger kids make their own lanterns, he'd give it as a gift. So I stayed. I worked as hard as I could." Molly felt something warm bloom in her chest. "But then," Jhonny continued, "just as I finished, the wind blew out half the lanterns in the tent. We had to fix them before everyone could go home. That's why I'm so late." Molly looked again at the lantern glowing in Jhonny's hands. All her worries melted away like frost in morning sunlight. "You stayed all day? For me?" she asked softly. Jhonny shrugged, suddenly shy. "I wanted to bring you something that would last. Something that could light the dark." Molly reached out and took the lantern carefully. Its warmth felt gentle and safe, like kindness you could hold. Her grandmother stepped out onto the porch, smiling as she watched them. "Ah," she said, "now I see. Good things really do take time." They all went inside together. Grandmother poured warm milk with honey, and they sat around the kitchen table while Jhonny told stories of the fair. The juggler who dropped 6 apples at once, the tiny dog that could dance on its hind legs, the little girl who made her very first lantern and beamed with pride. Later, when it was time for bed, Molly placed the lantern by her window. Its soft light filled the room with gentle shadows that danced on the walls like friendly dreams. That night, as she snuggled beneath her quilt, Molly no longer felt worry when she thought of waiting. She understood that sometimes waiting meant someone cared enough to try harder, stay longer, and give more. Outside, the village grew quiet. The lantern glowed steadily, the stars shimmered above, and Molly drifted into sleep with a peaceful smile. And from that night on, whenever she heard the old song about Jhonny being long at the fair, she never felt sad. She only felt warm. So kids, that's all for today. If you like our story, please press like, share, and subscribe, or press the bell icon. See you next time with another story.